Hey, Mark. Shout out to you, bro.
Let's go! 0-3, baby!
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about.
Hey guys, welcome back to Steel Nation Australia, and today we are doing the Ironcast. I believe it is episode, I think it's 14. Last week we had Des on the show. Des was a Denver Bronco fan. We're trying to get her to be a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. But this week, look, guys, I'm running out there, going out into internet, and I found this young fella's channel. I was like, who the hell is this bloke? And I just want to find out more of their story. And look, it's not about me. You already know who I am. I'm a Steel Nation guy from Australia. But maybe Trey might ask me questions. But I want to bring straight away for the Ironcast today. I have my mate who we just met. Trey, mate, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. Just hanging out, enjoying not enjoying the weather yet, but we'll be enjoying the weather.
Yeah, I just want to say, so like, we just met like literally 5 minutes ago. Don't know each other from bars, but that's why the internet's so cool and so awesome. So hopefully some of the viewers stick around and hear your story. But yeah, pretty much in a nutshell, like, do you live in Minnesota? You're a Minnesota Viking fan?
Yep. I do live in Minnesota, born and raised. It's been interesting here, obviously, with the winters that we have, and summers though definitely awesome here because everyone kind of hides away for the winter, and nobody goes outside. And all of a sudden, when summer comes out, you can really start to see like the change in like everybody's mood and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been here for 24 years, almost 25 years now. So.
Does that mean you are 25 without giving out your age?
I'm 24, will be 25 in August. So
yeah, so I've been to the States 5 times. I've never been to Minnesota because that's up right near Canada, right? Is it not?
Basically, yep.
Yeah, so you're on the border of like near Canada, super cold. And I get what you're saying because I lived in Canada too. I lived in Banff and it was super cold. I got down to I don't know how to do it was like 0 degrees in Fahrenheit. Or was that cold?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, in my language, we went through something like in Banff. I don't know if you know where that is, a small town in Canada surrounded by mountains. But we had this thing called like some weird weather pattern came over for about a week. And in my language, because we do Celsius, it was minus 30 in my language. And I think in Fahrenheit, it was like minus 15 or 10.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah.
It was that cold, like that bad. You go outside, if you were outside more than 15 minutes, your heart would stop. Your hands, But I'm intrigued about Minnesota because I don't know. All I know about Minnesota, pretty much in a nutshell, no offense, but Minnesota have been to the Super Bowl, 4 times, and they've lost 4 times, correct? Right? No offense.
Unfortunately.
No offense, but you've had one of the greatest. I want to start with this. Like, we've got to talk about Adrian Peterson, man. Like, what are your thoughts on Adrian Peterson?
Man, he was something else, because being a Minnesota Vikings fan, like we always kind of like we've had a good team, like usually every single year. At least it seems that way until the season gets rolling. But then like we always have these like certain guys that all of a sudden are just superstars. Like we had Randy Moss and Chris Carter, and we even had Brett Favre for that 2009 stint. But
he was pretty good. I'll stop you there. We could talk more about Adrian Peterson. That one pass that I think he was a Viking, Brett Favre, that ran out to the right hand side, and I think he got injured on the play. I believe Arthur Motes hit him. I think was that first. I don't know. I might be mixing 2 plays up, but he rolled out to the side. Brett Favre threw a big bomb and scored a touchdown. I think I might have mixed 2 games up, but. It was pretty fun to watch as a Viking too.
Yeah, he definitely was. I mean, he was out there for revenge against Green Bay because he wanted to stay in the NFC North or something like that when he left Green Bay, and Green Bay was like, yeah, that's not happening. They sent him to the Jets, which, yeesh, but
Jets was bad, but it was fun seeing older Brett Favre. Like you could tell he's old. He had the gray hairs. He was like 30 or something like that.
Yeah, he was in high 30s maybe.
Yeah, but it was kind of fun seeing him play the game and get revenge. And I think it was, I don't know if it was with Steelers, but I'm mixing 2 games up, but there was one pass that he rolled out to the very, very, like kind of like a Patrick Mahomes, rolled all the way out to the right and slung it deep. And I don't even know who caught it, but there was just a brilliant like Vikings moment. But I want to get back to Adrian Peterson. He's amazing, right?
Oh, he was so much fun to watch. I mean, like literally every single play you were waiting for something to happen because like he would all of a sudden just run it right up the middle and it'd be a 40-yard, 50-yard touchdown, and you'd hear like our announcer for the Vikings game on our radio network over here, like K-Fan Paul Allen. I don't know if you know him, but he would be like, "And he's loose," and it'd get you just so juiced up. You'd get like these goosebumps. But like, I think it was towards one of his last years with the Minnesota Vikings. Can't remember what year right off my head, but it was against the Broncos, and I remember it was 4th and like 10 or something like that. And this massive hole just opened up, and it was like the last time we got to hear Paul Allen actually saying he's loose, and like just the hairs on your like arm would just stand up. And I mean, he was a beast because he would just plow people over, and I mean, so much fun to watch every game basically. So
I agree. I just looked up. This comes to my memory. The one I like in that as a Steeler fan I love too is Adrian Peterson versus Cleveland Browns. He scored three touchdowns and 100. Can you describe that day? 180 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, he was a different animal. I'm pretty sure that was the game where that was Antonio Brown who basically kicked some dude in the face. But
yeah, he was playing hurdles, mate. He was trying to hurdle over the guy, and he got in the way. And hey, look, we get like that was a pretty dirty move. But I put some stuff on the Bengals all the time. I'm sure in your division as well. You go back and forth. That's why it's fun. But day, mate, that day versus Adrian Peterson versus the Browns, 180 yards. He couldn't be stopped.
No, and he was like that for a lot of games in his career. I can't remember what game, but he has the single season or single game rushing record with like 298 yards. And like, I can't remember how many touchdowns he scored that game or who it was against, but that record still stands to this day. I mean, that Browns game though, 3 touchdowns. It's just, I don't think you really hear of that too much nowadays because like the game is kind of shifting to like a passing league almost. Like there's still those marquee like running backs. You have like a Derrick Henry, a Christian McCaffrey, or Dalvin Cook even, but like, back then it was like once you got a guy, like you got a guy for quite some time. And Adrian Peterson definitely was that guy. So.
Well, even from going back in the day, so I'm reading the stats now, and this could be an Adrian Peterson show, to be honest, and that's fine because he's one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game. 2007 he had 1,300 yards. 2008 he had 1,700 yards. 2009 1,300. 2010 1,200. A low year in 2011 970. Like he was the guy for you. He was just the guy. And worldwide in Australia, like people knew who Adrian Peterson was. 2012, he had 2,097 yards. I think either leads it or he's second to I think someone else. I can't remember who else, but
he's second. Unfortunately, I was so mad that game because
was he 14 yards away from someone? I can't remember who it is.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was only 8 yards away. At least
really?
I think it was only 8 yards away, and I believe it's from Barry Sander or Emmett Smith. I think it might have been Barry Sander. Yeah, and we had a chance to give him the ball one more time to get those yards. And Brad Childress, who I believe was our coach at the time, pulled him out of the game. And at least from my perspective and like my family and stuff, everyone that was watching kind of that I know was not too happy about that. Because, I mean, he definitely could have got it because he was at the prime of his career a year after he tore his ACL. I mean, the dude was a magician out there that year.
Yeah, well, it depends to what time it would have been. If it was like 5-6 minutes to go, sure. If you're winning or whatever, you could have played him to get that. I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan of Brad. Was it Chill? What's his name?
Yeah, Brad Childress. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the best coach for you guys, was he?
No,
not overall.
No.
So that kind of sucks. But I think overall, like Adrian Peterson was just a standout. Like he actually ran over. I don't know which Steeler it was. He might have run over Ryan Clark, but he couldn't be stopped, and he was pretty much like your offense. I can't even think of the quarterbacks that you guys had.
Christian Ponder. I mean,
okay, Ponder, number 9, right?
CP7 as they call him. But yeah,
was he number 7? Sorry.
Yeah, he was number 7. I think the other Matt Castle. I think towards the end of his Gus Farrat also, I believe, and I think early in Adrian Peterson's career was what's his name, Jackson. I can't remember his name. He just passed away not too long ago. I think last year or something like that. I don't know why I can't think of his name. Tavares Jackson. There he goes.
Did he pass away? I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah, last year I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the beginning, middle, or end of the season. But yeah, he passed away with I think he got in a car accident or something like that.
Oh,
So
heavy. It's a bit like us with, of course, with Dwayne Haskins too. There's actually been quite a few, and we won't go down this road, but there's been quite a few deaths in the NFL. Like even the other week, the quarterback, and of course, Marion Barber of the
yeah,
Dallas Cowboy. That's a shock to me when I heard that one. I was like, that guy was a freak too. Speaking of running backs, I still remember the play that Marion Barber was out in the end zone. And he was meant to be tackled 3 or 4 or 5 times.
yep.
And he gets away and gets like 40 yards.
Absolutely insane. He was actually a Minnesota Golden Gopher. Great.
Oh, really?
A legend. I forgot about it until like the Gophers actually posted a little thing. And I was like, oh, he actually played for our college. Okay, that's pretty dope. I like that. So
All right, let's stick there. Have you been to college games or that kind of atmosphere as well?
man, it's been a long time since I've been to a college game, to be honest. Like, and I think the last time was probably when I was like 12 or 13. And that was because our youth football team kind of took a trip there to kind of watch them. And I think that might have been maybe when Marion Barber was actually a running back back in the day. But I try to watch as much college football as I can, but mainly I kind of stick to the Golden Gophers, the Minnesota College. So, yeah.
Well, there's that much going on, man. Like, to be honest, there's 32 teams in the NFL. It's over 100 colleges. Like, for me, I can't keep up. My audience here from Steel Nation Australia knows that I can't keep up. I try and focus on the Steelers. But I want to talk a bit about your channel, and if you want to promote it, it's Get Your Fix with Wicks. Is that correct?
Yeah, Get Your Fix with the Wicks. Basically Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time, which would be Central Time, I guess, over here in the United States. It's been a blast actually doing it. So it's on YouTube and Facebook.
And you talk pretty much every team, right?
Yeah, I talk about the entire NFL. Whatever news pops up on my phone from all the insiders, I talk about it and try to give my opinion on it and stuff like that. So
what's the big news you think is happening right now in the NFL? Of course, we have Aaron Donald, but what is the big standouts? We're in the dead period, right? Not much is going on, but what's the big news?
Well, obviously we have the whole Deshaun Watson situation, which, I mean, I won't really dive into it because I really don't know anything about it too much. Like, I do know what it all entails, but like until a decision is made, then I can finally give my opinion on it.
I agree with you. I'm the same. Like, for me, look, there's a lot going on, right? But as a football sense, he might be. Look at the purely football, right? He may be out for 5, 6, maybe 12 games. And the Browns went and got him. I thought the Steelers might have had a chance, but luckily we didn't have that drama. But the Browns treated Baker so dirty, and now they went and got Watson. Now they might have to rely on Baker. Do you think Baker plays with the Browns this year?
I don't think he can. Like,
yeah, same.
It's just with that locker room now. Like, you had last year, you had a chance to sign him or give him a contract extension, so you waited another year, and he comes into this last season where I honestly believe, like, if he didn't have all of these injuries, we'd be seeing a completely different Baker than what we have right now.
Last year, he hurt his shoulder. He was playing a bad shoulder against the Steelers, and
different injuries. It was just
he was hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, I just don't think you can have him start, and especially I think they picked up like 5 quarterbacks. I mean, they have Jacoby Brissett, and I think
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs. I think there's one more. I don't think it's Nick Mullins. I can't remember, but there's a couple other ones. So I think they realized that the Baker relationship is kind of gone, and now I think they're just kind of waiting to trade him. But obviously, they're going to have to eat so much of that contract. I believe he's owed like $19 million, and no team in the NFL is going to want to pick him up with that contract.
Yeah. If I was Baker, man, like we dislike him here in the Steel land because we're the Steelers, right? But I do, out of all the players in the history of the Browns, I feel bad for him because he's just been run over by a bus 3 times. They pretty much said, we want you to be the quarterback. We're not going to go and get Watson. Then they went and got Watson.
Yep.
And then they said, oh, by the way, you can go out, and look for other teams now if you want to. And then they went back and said, well, actually, Watson can't play. We need you to play now.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I wouldn't want to. How could you mentally be under the center going, I'm playing for the Browns. they love me. No, they tread on you 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, and see, I have a buddy of mine is actually a Cleveland Browns fan. He's been on my show a couple times, and like we had this discussion the other day. And I'm like, if he has to play, I think the only way that things can kind of go to normal is if like he comes in that locker room and kind of like tells them like, hey, like everything aside that's happened this whole offseason, let's just buy in, let's play football. Don't worry about all the nonsense that's going on outside the field. Let's just kind of buy in and try to win ball games because that's what we're here and that's what we're paid to do. But it's such a tough situation over there in Cleveland.
If he's a professional, 100%, I would give him respect for that. I don't really like his ego, how ego he is, but I put my hand up sometimes too. I probably, if Big Ben Roethlisberger didn't play for the Steelers, I wouldn't like him. He had the same kind of thing. Like, I don't really like the way that, I guess you guys would also hate Aaron Rodgers. Like my mate, Gridiron Blitz, Derek, he goes for the Lions. They can't stand Aaron Rodgers. But if he played for your team, it's a different story. So Big Ben plays for me or played for me for 18 years. I was like, he's my quarterback. That's my quarterback, right? But if he played for another team, he's a smug guy. Like, I don't really like him, and that's how it is. What are your thoughts on A-Rod with that scenario too? A-Rod with the Packers, I saw last year or whatever it was. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going to go. And then he signed for the same team anyway. He fooled the whole NFL. Oh,
yeah. Honestly, I watched the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you're familiar with the Pat McAfee show.
That's awesome.
Oh, he's a legend. So I got to watch that, and like I got to kind of dive into the Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. And before I got to see that, I did not like Rodgers at all. But as these Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays kept coming out, and they were asking him questions, and he was talking, it was like, okay, I started to kind of develop like a like for him. Like he's a pretty cool dude. He's a pretty honest dude, and he's kind of manipulative in a way. I feel like he knows what he wants to do. I think it's just he wants to say it in a way that won't like piss somebody off.
He's walking on the fence, bro. He's walking on the fence the whole time, and he tricked everyone. He said he was thinking about going to other teams and doing this, and he was annoyed about bringing in Jordan Love and this kind of stuff. And then he goes and signs the better deal anyway.
Yeah,
right. He said he was going. He said he had thoughts about going to other teams. He had invested time, maybe going to the Broncos or whatever, or Seahawks. And he thought about doing all these things, entertaining ideas of going to the Steelers. Oh, I like playing for them. Me and Coach Tomlin have a great, He played that game for so long, and then eventually he just got back to the same place where he was and wasted everyone's time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why not come out and say, what are they, green and gold? Like, come out and say, I'm a Packer for life. I can't wait to get him to play with them and do that. But he was thinking, well, where can I get the most money? Where can I get the most money? And that's what it comes down to as well.
I can definitely see that too. I think he came out, I can't remember what it was. I think obviously the relationship with the Packers GM, Brian Gutekunst and him, it really wasn't that great the whole last offseason, but I think they had like their time to kind of sit down and talk about things. But I think the other day he came out and basically said that he would like to retire a Green Bay Packer and stuff like that. So I think he's always wanted to stay in Green Bay. I think it was just the fact that the general manager basically general manager Brian Gutekunst wasn't like talking to him, wasn't getting his opinion on things, and Aaron was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be petty if you're gonna be petty type thing. And like, but hey, it worked itself out. The only thing that happened with the whole situation is they lost Devontae. So that's a brutal hit right there.
You know what's funny? A lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans always say, well, the Steelers are wasting players and this and that. But you really look at what the Green Bay Packers have done over the last 10 years. Ever since they won the Super Bowl, they get to the very end bit and then they lose.
Yeah,
right. They lose at the very end. So, but I want to talk about your Minnesota Vikings because this is one team I don't really follow too much, to be honest, because it's on the other side. It's NFC. You and I don't really see Steelers don't play Vikings that much. I don't think it happens like once every 4 years, and depending how they line up on who comes first in division, second or third, right? Yeah. What is your thoughts? I want to start with your quarterback because I'm not really a big fan, but you can convince me that if Kirk Cousins is the guy, I do like his energy. You like that kind of stuff. Love that. All right, that's one of the best clips I've ever seen from the Washington Redskins back in the day. You like that? Like that's just it's funny. It's a soundbite. It's funny, right? But what? How can you convince me, or what do you think his chances this year in 2022? Because he just signed a deal, right? I think he signed something, didn't he?
Yeah, 2-year
What
extension, I think, for like.
So you guys must believe in him, right? You must believe in some like him to be there. Is he the guy, or do you even need him to be the quarterback, or you were focusing on the running game? Like, what is the ideal situation with QB Kirk Cousins?
See, what I think is kind of what's happening right now is there's nobody else really available that I think is better than him at this point in time. Because, I mean, yeah, we got Kellen Mond last year, which I would love to see more of Kellen Mond, especially in this preseason. But, I think everyone here in Minnesota kind of has that love-hate relationship with Kirk, because when Kirk's good, I mean, he's amazing. But when he's bad, it's like, I mean, it's like he just falls down like a stairwell almost and just can't get back up and just tripping over himself. But like, he's a good enough quarterback to win us ball games. I think, to get us to the playoffs this year. I don't see us missing the playoffs, and if we do miss the playoffs, then that contract was for nothing. But I honestly do believe that we just keep extending him because there's not any better option at the quarterback position. I mean, there could have been this year with like the Malik Willis, the Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Sam Howell, but I think when you look at the rookie quarterbacks, everyone wants to compare him to like, oh, this guy's like Tom Brady, this guy's like Aaron Rodgers. It's like, okay, well, he hasn't played a snap in the NFL. How do you know what he's like? So I think you kind of want to take your chance on the veteran guy,
I was just thinking, right? I was just thinking that Kirk Cousins to me is 50-50, and his record is actually 50-50.
Yeah.
The whole way around.
It's
59 wins, 59 losses, and 2 ties.
Yeah, it's
50-50, right?
His playoff, or I guess his primetime games, though, he can't win in primetime, which is kind of a bummer for us. But
so that's like the next hurdle, right? So he's got in his career 120 games played, which is no mean feat. Like, he's up there, right? So he's probably like a look, he's kind of a bit like, to me, like a Matt Ryan, like that kind of quality guy, right?
Yep.
What's he got? He's got 32,000 yards. Like, he's done it, man. He's been in this business a long time. 219 touchdowns, interceptions 87. So that's not a bad ratio, really.
No.
Maybe it just seems like, and you know more than I do, is it is certain interceptions in certain places that he's just not getting out of his own way, because that is legitimate. He is the ideal 50-50 quarterback because his record shows that.
Oh, yeah. Another thing with those yards and the touchdowns, too, because I went back and looked at them a couple times. And the one thing that kind of stands out to me is the year by year is literally they're identical. Every single year, his passing yards are kind of identical. His passing touchdowns are kind of identical. His interceptions are kind of identical. Like, he never gets better. Like, he never gets over that 5,000. He's usually around the 4,000 plus mark of passing yards, and like 20 touchdowns you can get out of him, and maybe like just barely over 10 interceptions a year. And it's like, we gotta figure something out to get this guy going. And that's I
was going to say, what's the I guess the next step is, being a good quarterback or intermediate quarterback. What's the next step for Cousins, and how does he win that? Does he need to rely on some receivers like Thielen? Does he need to rely on the defense? What do you think is for Cousins' next step?
Honestly, I think the next step is, well, I mean, we kind of did one of the next steps was get an offensive-minded head coach, somebody that he has been with in the past. Kevin O'Connell was his quarterback's coach in Washington. So I think that's a massive upside for Kirk to kind of get over that hump a little bit. Also, with getting Justin Jefferson just a year or two ago,
100%.
That's a huge pickup. And if we can get more weapons, I think, surrounded around Kirk, which we didn't get to see Irv Smith Jr. last year, and I think he has a lot of upside. I actually wanted Kyle Rudolph to get traded or get released a year before he did, because I thought Irv already had the talent and was ready to rock and roll. But I think, if Thielen stays healthy, and we kind of, if KJ Osborne has a good season, I think Kirk's headed in the right direction, especially with Kevin O'Connell.
Right, so I'm going to switch gears a bit here. I was looking through your defense. I want to talk about some of your defensive guys in 2022 and just their career in general. Is it Darnell Hunter? Hunter Darnell?
Oh, Danielle Hunter? Yep.
Yeah. What's the go with him? He's a pretty big unit, right? I think he's an outstanding linebacker.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's one of those talents that, like, you just can't get rid of. Like, I think it was like 14 and a half sacks in back-to-back seasons or something like that. The dude, I mean, when he's healthy, when he stays healthy, he's like literally unstoppable, it seems like. And he's like, he's built. He's not even built like a defensive end. Like he's like a little bit bigger. He's kind of like he's on the edge. Like he could play D tackle, but he definitely has to stay at the defensive end position. But if he stays healthy, because I think he's dealt with a pec injury. I can't remember what last year's injury was off the top of my head. It might have been like a lower body injury. But if he stays healthy, he's definitely one of the top pass rushers in the National Football League. And I'm pumped to see him stay healthy, hopefully, this year.
And what about that? So when you're attacking the quarterback, what about your secondary? You have Patrick Peterson there. Is he still the ideal guy for the Vikings? Getting longer in the tooth, a bit older now. Is he the guy for the Vikings? And then talk about also Harrison Smith is pretty good safety as well. Your secondary looks pretty fun, and you also brought in Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback. I think he's number 1 round, right?
I think he was second round, because I think right. he was late second round or mid second round. Patrick Peterson, I was pumped when we brought him into Minnesota, because I think he had a couple years prior to coming into Minnesota where he actually kind of hinted at coming here, and I was pumped that we got him. And last year, he's obviously getting up there in age, so he's not going to be the greatest corner by any means, but I think with the experience he brought to our defense, it really helped our young secondary kind of overcome a secondary 2 years ago where, it was god awful. It was so bad to watch. You just knew we were going to lose because our secondary was that bad. He kind of brought this energy to the team, that veteran leadership, like, hey, like we got to do the right things. We got to do them now. And I think bringing him back and extending him this year, it was actually due to the fact that we knew we were going to take a corner in this draft. And it was kind of maybe just like hey, teach this guy kind of the ropes, show him the ropes, show him what a veteran would do in this league, training, how you eat, how you your schedule and all that stuff. And Andrew Booth Jr., to be honest, I was set on Ahmad Sauce Gardner. Kind of figured we weren't going to get him, and I was also set on Derek Stingley Jr. on getting him, but they didn't fall to us, and I kind of forgot about Andrew Booth Jr. And when we drafted him, I was like, okay, we got a guy. I'm pumped for this. Probably like the 3rd best corner that came out of this draft, and probably maybe the 4th best corner, so top 5. But I really don't know too much about his game right now. I haven't looked too far into him, just basically because I want to see what he will bring to the field on Sundays. But from what I kind of gathered, he's a good, I'd say man-to-man corner, maybe a little bit more of a zone corner. But I think that's where Pat P comes in and kind of fine-tunes what he needs to do out there. And Harrison Smith is
another veteran guy, right? So you've got a lot of guys that are a bit older, but could hopefully teach. And I don't know who the second or third depth guys are, but if they're younger, they can teach the young fellas how to play the game. And you're right, how to go out there and eat, how to schedule your life with the gym and social life and do all those things. They've done it for 10 years?
Oh yeah, definitely like 10. I think Harrison's probably 12 years. That seems too much. Maybe around the 10-year range or something like that. They call him the hitman for a reason, right? The dude, he's kind of pissed me off the last couple of years because, with the new rule changes and like the lowering of the helmet and stuff like that, it's just like, ugh, come on, man. Like some of these hits you don't have to do. You're the hitman. We understand that, but like,
was he the one? He's the one that took out. I think it might have been like Lamar Jackson or someone like that. I can't remember. I think he went too low on someone. And they got really angry, but
it might have. I don't think it was Lamar. I think I remember who you're talking about, but I can't remember what team it was. But yeah, he's definitely had a history of doing that. But hey, if you get more tackles than you do penalties, that's I guess all I.
Oh, it's a little bit like us with James Harrison, and James Harrison has talked about it for years. And Debo is one of my favorites. Got him in the back corner there with my jersey, right? Yeah. And he was a physical guy, and you just can't play the game that way anymore.
No.
I don't know if you saw it, but on the NFL site too, and they had them wearing the funny helmets with the sponge on top because it was like a new way to wear their helmet. I don't know if they're going to introduce that into the game. Sure, it looks funny, but they're really trying to take care of their health. And a lot of guys like Harrison Smith, the big hitters, like one of my favorites too, and you probably know this guy, Brian Dawkins, right? Weapon X. Wasn't he fun to watch?
He was so fun. He was electric.
Crazy.
Him and Ray Lewis too, like.
I went to Super Bowl 51, like in the city in Houston,
Really?
And I walked past like a studio, and I was with my mate Brady, and I was like, I want to be on TV. And this lady was like, okay, come with me. And we went we went and joined the audience, and I was surrounded by the honey badger and like all these like NFL dudes coming in and out of the studio. And I was sitting, those shows where they have like the big TV and the players walk up and mark which one for Super Bowl.
Yep.
Me and my friend were next to that, right? And at one point I had Ray Lewis on my left-hand side next to me, and I kid you not, because he hates the Steelers, I was wearing not this jersey, but another one. He saw my Steeler jersey and gave me a bump like that. And I was like,
yeah,
because he hates them, bro. Like, he actually, he does not like the Steelers.
No.
Like, he won't he won't even like fans wearing that jersey because of all the memories and everything else to it. And yeah, big Ray Lewis, and people can bring up all the other stuff. I don't care what, the rumors or whatever it is, right? But on that day, I'm next to Ray Lewis. I'm like, my mate's like, oh, ask him for a photo. And I was like, do you understand that Ray Lewis would not say yes?
No.
He won't say yes to me. I'm wearing a Steeler jersey. Why would he put his reputation being a knockout linebacker for years with the Ravens to get a photo with some idiot fan like me wearing a Steeler jersey?
Yeah,
He might do it, but there's a high chance he'll say, no, go away because you're wearing a Steeler jersey.
Yeah.
And he gave me that bump. He was on the phone. He was like this.
Yeah, just like a little bump.
I was like, Ray Lewis just bumped me. I didn't say anything because the show's going on and like the crowds are on the outside, around the front bit, and I was next to the TV. I was like, Ray Lewis bumped me, man. Like he would snap me in half, But they carry this, passion from playing for their team. They don't want to see Derrick Henry doesn't want to be associated with Colts fans or whatever. Like your Vikings, Adrian Peterson probably wouldn't want to sign a Lion jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he actually played for the Lions, so he might.
Did he really?
Yeah, he played.
I don't remember that.
I think it was like 2 years.
Oh, 2020. That's right. Yeah, shoot. Oh yeah, 156 yards he got. Game started 10. Sorry, he did 2 in 2020. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
604 yards, 7 TDs. Wow, there you go.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
He did what he had to. I mean, towards the end of his career, hey, whoever's going to sign me, I would love to play. That's basically what he said, kind of.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to round it up soon, but I've got a few questions. Firstly, I want to find out, have you been to a Vikings game over that way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I actually grew up, basically my family had season Viking tickets, so I got to see Randy Moss in person. Basically, I don't know if you probably won't remember this or know this, but that picture where Randy has his afro's hanging out and he's wearing the purple or whatever. And he did it in basically every game. So when I was there, I think it was one of the more iconic moments. He took off his skull cap or his do-rag or whatever it is, and it just poof, just came out, and it was just electric. So I got to watch that era, and we got to watch the Atlanta Falcons kind of tear us apart basically all the time, and got to go to the Dome, the Herbert H. Humphrey Dome, their old stadium. But I've been
that's the one that collapsed, right, from the snow.
Yep. That was definitely that one. I knew it was going to happen at some point. I mean, how much hold up? I mean, it's with how much snow we get here. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it should have held up that long. But U.S. Bank Stadium, I don't know if you've been there, but it is.
No, the goal was actually, man. The goal was, and I kind of, because I was living in Canada. I was living in Canada in 2017, and I came home, and then I went back to Canada again. But the moment I went back, I went to a new town. I went to Whistler, and pretty much how the reason why I didn't stay longer in Canada was I had zero money and zero friends to do that more to find the social network again, and it was really hard to live there. So I came back home. Yep. But the goal, what I was planning to do that season, because that was going into the Minnesota, the Super Bowl 52. The goal was in Canada, I was going to stay to the rest of my visa. Right, my visa ran out about February or so, like that, in Canada. Stay there, go to America, go to Minnesota to my third city, because I went to San Fran in 50. I went to Houston, and I was going to go to Minnesota. But because I went back to Whistler, and I stuffed my plans up because it was a judgment call at the time, and I don't really regret it, but it's what happened. But the goal was I was going to go to Minnesota because you guys had the Super Bowl city and the ice You had like everything outside and super cold and freezing, and
Yeah.
that was a Patriots versus Eagles, right?
Yeah, that was the year we should have gone. Oh, that was brutal.
That was versus Saints, right? No?
So that was the year we beat the Saints, and then we went to play the Eagles, and we scored a touchdown within the first, I don't know, 3 minutes, and I was pumped up. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an easy game. We got this. Like, sorry, we're going to Super Bowl. And 35 points later, we were the losing team. So I was like, oh, nice.
That's how quick it goes, eh?
It is. I mean, just in a blink of an eye, too. It can be there 1 second, gone the next, and that's what happened. So Eagles won that one, though. So
yeah, they outsmarted Brady and Brady and the band, and people didn't think that Eagles could do anything. And I was on the boat. I didn't think the Eagles could do much, but they had a great defense, and they out tricked him. And they all do that play. I'm kind of over that play. I don't know if you're over that play.
It's been kind of overplayed.
Who cares, mate? I've seen much better plays. I've seen Jerome Bettis do a 4-yard run over Urlacher
right in the middle of the line.
Just knocked someone over better than a tricky play. Of course, it was a good play and outsmarted everyone, but who gives a rat's tails? Now, before we end, I want to hear your thoughts on your Vikings this year. Are you gonna win a Super Bowl? Do you have a chance?
Super Bowl, probably not. I would hope for a Super Bowl, but honestly, I think best case scenario, we're probably going to finish second in our division behind Green Bay. And if for some reason they stink this year, we'll probably finish first. But I think you can see us going to the playoffs, winning the wild card round. And I think after the wild card round, I think that's where we're going to kind of get eliminated. So, I mean, hey, we make the playoffs, give the Vikings a little hope like we always do. And then, hey, we're Minnesota, so we're just going to blow it, basically. Hope for a Super Bowl, climb to that mountaintop, get that Lombardi, but I just don't see that happening this year. I think we have a little bit more to go.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I always remember too, the Minnesota Vikings, I just thought of them was Jared Allen, that kind of bloke too, you know. You had those guys. You're a very passionate fan base. I do applaud you guys for living out in the freezing cold. It must get cold super fast going into football season rather than, in LA or Miami where, I know Green Bay plays out in the cold too, but you have like an indoor stadium. I don't know if you guys you still have an indoor stadium, right?
Yeah, it's an indoor stadium.
Yeah. I don't know if you should have went to an outdoor stadium and done the elements and then maybe made other teams be colder.
It would have been awesome because I went to Lambeau this past season, the most electrifying game I have ever been to. I mean, the atmosphere was so amazing. Like, it kind of gave you goosebumps. Like, it kind of brought you back to Friday Night Lights and back in high school and stuff like that when you're playing football or just when you're outside with your buddies and just having fun and throwing the ball around. It was it was just a nostalgia thing. It was so incredible. Those outdoor stadiums, for some reason, when you get the elements, you get the snow.
Yeah,
that is like Pittsburgh. I'm sure when they have snow games, that is just high.
I went there,
just going.
I went there for Steelers versus Ravens Christmas Day, and I've told my story a million times, but basically it was about I think 0 or 2 degrees your style, right? And it was pretty cold, but it's super fun. But I just think the Minnesota Vikings, and I think when your stadium collapsed, you played outside, right? You played somewhere else that was outside.
Yeah, we played at TCF Stadium at the time. It was the Gophers Stadium. I actually went to a game there, and we played the Chiefs, and we didn't get into after the first quarter because of what was it? The workers were protesting the Chiefs name, so that was fun. But it wasn't a bad stadium. I think a transitioning stadium, pretty good. I'd say. So.
Mate, people want to protest anything. They'll probably protest my name in a minute. You know what I'm saying? They'll protest the Steelers Nation Australia. Well, the Steelers don't play in Australia. Let's protest.
Yeah.
So, probably. But it's fun to be I reckon it's just the American football is fun, and I think the Vikings would have. I think an advantage if they did play outside, but that's the reason why I wanted to go too, because the stadium was brand new and I had the chance to go, and it would have ended my tour, but that we had to watch. Look, I'm so glad that Brady doesn't play. I know he still plays, but doesn't play for the Patriots. I know you're sick of seeing Brady. I'm sick of seeing Brady. But
Brady's
I'm sick of
my guy. I love
you like Brady?
I've always loved him. I'm really 12 for every sport I've ever played. I mean,
really?
He's the greatest
there
of all.
You go. That's fair enough. I see different because I'm I know he's the greatest, but stop telling me he's got a chip on his shoulder, but you've won 7. What he keeps going.
Yeah, he just wants more. 45.
All right, mate. We'll end it there. It's almost 40 minutes. Thanks, Trey, for coming on the Steelers Ironcast. That was a great episode. Stick around for a few minutes, and I'll as my mate Gridiron Blitz says, we'll chop it up with you. So stick around. Thanks, guys, for checking out the channel again. Trey, mate, you were fantastic. I wish you luck with your channel and maybe your future endeavors. You might be have a chance working with some other opportunities. So yeah, thanks, mate, for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Here we go, Steelers. Actually, what do you got? What do you guys say? What do you guys say?
Well, it basically just skull, and then we do the.
Oh yeah, you got that one. Yeah, that's you guys are nuts.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You guys are like playing in the cold, it's frigid weather, and you got
Vikings,
Vikings, dude. You guys are nuts. All right, mate. Thanks, guys. Check out that channel. I'll see you.